My parents divorced when I was 9. I spent the next 3 years living mainly with my mom, then switched over to my dad when I became a teenager. One of the byproducts of a divorce is if the parents can't shut up about each other to the kids. They create confusion and animosity for the children. My mom caught herself one day about halfway through my teens and committed to me that she would cease speaking ill of my dad forevermore, and subsequently kept her promise. My dad made no such commitment, as he didn't see the problem with a little trash talk. He also didn't seem to notice, the way my mother had, that it pained me. However, armed with a couple of years of my mom's noble accountability, I finally decided to confront him about it. By then, as an adult, I had a few more words at my disposal, but what made the interaction successful was this. I planned every word. I knew there would come a point in our interactions where he would ask about her in a way that was a dig, and that gave me time to strategize because I didn't necessarily want to hurt his feelings. I realized that he probably still had some unresolved feelings about her, and it came out in one of the few ways that made sense to him, quote, joking. I visited him at work one day, a regular practice for me and my brothers. His crew were practically our extended aunts and uncles, and we began our usual tradition of banter, and then it came. How's your mom? She's still trailer trash? This was a reference to the fact that she had purchased and lived in a prefabricated home. He would always follow this question by reminding me that he could use that term since he himself was once trailer trash. Yet, like most people who have a good relationship with their mom might, I hated it. My moment had come. Here I delivered my prepared statement. While I'm aware it's true that you once lived in a trailer, I suspect you're mocking her situation of living in a manufactured home, which is not actually a trailer. Simultaneously, you seem to be leveraging that mockery to make yourself feel better about living in a traditional home that is larger than hers. I think it makes you feel like you won, which I understand as a very competitive person myself. But what you may not realize is that it hurts me, however you may mean it. And it may also interest you to know that she has fulfilled a promise to me to never make digs at you in my presence for the better part of 5 years now, and with no signs of stopping. I'm finally mustering the courage to ask you for the same. It was uncomfortable. Oh man, was it uncomfortable. He frowned, shifted in his seat, gave me a look that I always remembered when I was in trouble. But eventually, with no words in between, he made a facial expression that acquiesced to my request as though it were no big deal. In other words, he played off how hard I'd hit him emotionally. Moreover, and more importantly, he agreed to my respectful demand, and he never did it again. For the rest of their lives, my conversations with my parents about each other were pleasant and bore none of the friction they may have actually felt for each other. It improved my life in a small but permanent way. Having a plan is valuable for a few reasons. First and foremost, it can lend confidence. Just feeling like you know what you will do in a situation is empowering, allows you to breathe, and can get the process off to a productive start. Then, if you've thought out enough variances, it can prepare you for obstacles along the way. In the situation with my dad, I didn't really know what I was going to do if he argued other than finding ways of saying the same thing differently. Fortunately, my first move was strong enough to not need any more of a plan. Looking back on it, as if I would have to do it again, I would have followed up with some verbalized gratitude for hearing me out and thanked him for being willing to be confronted so uncomfortably. Experience is part of planning. Use what you know about people and situations to prepare for future interactions. I was barely an adult. I didn't have enough knowledge yet to know that he deserved some credit for handling a dressing down by his youngest with a modicum of dignity. The third and most important benefit of planning is the intent to avoid making a mistake again. People who work for me hear a canned statement whenever they apologize for making an error. I don't want your apology. I want to know what the plan is. That might seem a little direct, but the context is that I'm never angry at people for making a mistake, and the benefits of reflecting so they know how to avoid repeating it in the future are beyond measure. It would be one thing to state that I just want to know that they have a plan, but I take it one step further by wanting to be involved in the plan, hearing it out so I can support them if they need it. It ensures we are making the most of the experience, the one version of knowledge you cannot give to others, and stacking the odds in their favor for future success. As a bonus, having this practice exposes me to a lot of strategizing, which only makes me stronger at it myself. Hearing how dozens of people are coming up with tactics to handle infinite scenarios provides me countless ideas on handling them myself when I come across them. As I mentioned, I'm the youngest of a handful of brothers, and I was fortunate to be given the insight to learn from others' mistakes from a very early age. You don't have to be born with this. You can develop this trait yourself with practice and gain wisdom at an exponential rate. You might need a plan, though. You can imagine this action applying to a great many more things than conversations and avoiding repeat mistakes, certainly. Tons of people use it to map out their day, workload, and of course as a method to achieving goals. The reason I discuss it here in this context is because I find those two areas are where it's used the least. I have conversations with people in my mind prior to actually talking to them all the time. They often think I have this magic ability to come up with all the right words on the fly. While I would love for that to be completely true, most of it is because I've taken the time to anticipate what the options might be and prepare for those that I've considered. And most of those come from previous experiences or conversations that I reflected upon so that I could add to the stack. Planning for the purposes of avoiding a repeat mistake is simply a part of being fully accountable, which isn't limited to the workplace or career endeavors. The principle. When possible, put some planning into things you know might alter a course or relationship. Simply thinking about it is not enough. Try to come up with various alternatives so you feel equipped to deal with something challenging. In this video, I referenced accountability. If you haven't seen it yet, click here to find the value of holding yourself fully accountable for your actions. Thanks for watching the video, and be sure to subscribe for more like it. Click on the notification bell to be alerted to new videos.